Okay, so the Dogs are coming off back-to-back national championships. We're at this point, we're basically at the end of spring. Is Georgia ahead of where they were in 2021 and 2022? It's a interesting question. It's harder to answer that before G-Day. With that said, though, Matt, your global feeling on the program heading into 23 versus heading into 21 and 22, are they ahead of where they were? Can you answer that question?
I think they are. And it is a really good question, but they just lost so much after that 21 season, record breaking
Yes.
first round in NFL guys, and they came back and won a championship. Now, they are losing a good bit this year, but it seems like Kirby's been pretty optimistic. Now, you have a new quarterback, but, you know, he's been talking about how good these guys are. He likes all three of them. They have experience now, and the front runner, Carson Beck, this is going to be his fourth year. So it's not like you have to decide between a freshman and a sophomore for the job. So he knows what he has in these quarterbacks. And I think the offensive line is very good. The defensive line, he's talked about how so much depth they have there. And he's all about depth. And when you recruit 5 star after 5 star in multiple recruiting classes, one after another, that's how you build depth. So I think if you ask him, he'd probably say, yeah, I like where we are this time past last year.
Well, if he's but
But
is he telling the truth when we ask him? Like,
I
that's
think he's 50-50 on the truth, but
right.
I think they're in a really good position right now. He likes the mid years. He's talked about them multiple times. The young kids coming in, and we talked about this for a while. This is a well oiled machine that he's got
Hmm.
going, and there's not a ton of weaknesses along this team. If you look at every position group, it's hard to say that's a weak link, right? So I think they're in a better position right now than they were 12 months ago.
When I say tell the truth, I'm talking specifically about this question because if you're a coach, you know, they really are so in the moment, it feels like. Would he be able to quantify if they're ahead of 22 and 21? You would think someone with his intelligence would be able to say that. Well, it's a dicey question. It's a questionable answer though. I mean, no matter if you answer it or not, either way, because heading into 21, they thought they knew who their quarterback was. That wasn't the case. They knew their defense was really good, and that wasn't going to change. And going into 22, they've just won the national championship, which I think matters a lot. But absolutely few people expected that they actually would repeat as national champions. Probably in Athens too. I mean, I don't think that the guys in the program are like, oh, we're going to repeat. That was the goal. And I don't know if was it easier for them to win a national championship in 21 than 22. In 22, well, which year was it easier for them to win the national championship?
I'd say this past year, just
Yeah, it
that you didn't
was.
have to face Alabama,
No,
and
they
you
didn't play
had
Clemson.
a layup in the final championship game.
Right,
So
right,
it was a
right.
little easier, and
And they didn't
the
lose.
SEC championship was easier. Yeah, and they didn't lose the whole time. But this is a really good team, and we've said that for a
They
while.
are.
And Kirby Smart is still going to say, we've got to get better here. We've got to get better here. I need more from my
He's
guys here and
he's
there.
not
But
he's not wrong about a lot of
he's
that
not
stuff.
wrong. But he knows that he's got another very, very good team on his hands.
He does. If you're going to Athens this weekend, obviously I've got Red Zone shirt on. That's where you can pick up double dogs and grab some confetti while you're at it. It's the only place I know it's got confetti. The link is down below to order it online if you're not going to Athens, but you're not going to get confetti. You got to go to Red Zone. Got to go to Red Zone, Clayton Street, downtown Athens. If you're going and not getting the book, just go there anyway. They will be have a bunch of stuff. Okay. So here's the argument for they're in front of where they were, and it's a very simple one. They have won the national championship, and they know what it's like to win the national championship. That would be my argument that they are ahead of where they were. When you look at the thing that I just noticed is how they have different. They changed the font on the numbers. Like Keely's font is different than Stetson's font. Um, but this was the look of relief. This is about the only time Kirby was emotional that night. I felt like Alabama. I think he was spent. This looks more like, I mean, domination. Both shots. This shot's from me. This shot from Dylan Weber, which is we knew what we were doing that night better too, Matt. So I don't know that Georgia didn't themselves. I mean, we knew where we were going to be. We knew what we wanted to do after the game. We knew a lot of the stuff heading into the thing. Now these guys are heading into their third spring. They've got options at quarterback. Their offensive line, I would say they have options at quarterback. Am I wrong? Is that the wrong way to put it? Rather than they have to, options is a more positive way to look at it. And I think they do have options. I think Beck came into the thing ahead, and I suspect Beck will win, but I don't know that. But let's say you go with Vandegrift. It gives you the capability to continue the Stetson stuff, which is the ability to escape. Comment.
I said when they signed Brock Vandegrift after watching him win a state title, I said Georgia can win a national championship with this kid.
Yes. Oh,
He's
for
got
sure.
the tools. He can run. He's got a laser arm, and he's got that it factor, whatever you want to call it, that gamer mentality, that ability to win,
Teammates like
ball
him.
placement. He was very very good. So I think if something were to happen and Brock would be the starter, that I still can't find a team on the roster or on their schedule, excuse me, that should beat Georgia. Brock Vandegrift, this is his third year, former 5-star in their third year. They should be really, really good. And I think he
Correct.
still has all the talent in the world if he's healthy. And it seems like all three of them are, which is great. But I think going back to the original question, the staff is different. So
Yes. Yes.
Todd Monken staying would have been even better. I know Mike Bobo is going to do a great job. The guy knows what he's doing, but there is some staff turnover. So I don't know how much that affects, if
Well,
that
that
keeps
that
Georgia up
that
at
could.
night. Probably
Are
not,
you are
but
you are you on our list here? You need to keep going.
oh no, no, I'm just talking. If
But
you got
but
an
but
idea,
don't you think, Matt, that that would be the one thing that if you're saying, or you don't return the quarterback and you don't return the offensive coordinator, I mean, that's not nothing. That's a big deal. There's going to have to be some things. You've got at least one, I think, in Lovett, transfer player who is going to play a lot of snaps and matter. So he's got to get used to things. There are things to handle, but uh, could you make the argument that they are behind where they were on offense a season ago, but maybe ahead on defense? I mean, is that the wrong way to put it?
I still would like to see them have a running back who could do what Kenny McIntosh did. I think
Yeah,
they're kind of maybe a small step back at running back, but at wide
yeah,
receiver, I'm excited to see what Rod Thomas can do. Dominic Lovett,
love
Brock
it.
Bowers is still there. It, Carson or Brock or Gunner, whoever wins the job, I think it's Carson. They have so many weapons, and they have arguably the best offensive line in college football. So, yeah, new coordinator, new quarterback, but the pieces are still there. And there's a lot of guys who can make plays, and you've got some big dudes up front who know what they're doing, including the best center in college football. Him coming back was massive, 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 and that's
Yeah,
going to go a long way.
yeah. Cedric coming back. I mean, you always want smart people in your organization, and the more of them, the better. Which is why we left Ryan off this call. So it is really important that Cedric came back to Georgia, but I think I think in many ways they're ahead of where they were because they know what they had to do. A lot of the players from last season return, to this year. But again, now, you know, now I've forgotten the player. I just said his last name. Dominic, last
Love it.
name. Lovett is going to matter in this season coming up. I don't know if Thomas will, but Lovett will matter, and getting him accumulated or acclimated, excuse me, to playing for this team is important. Um, you know, Mike Bobo's transition from staffer from offensive coordinator or head coach to offensive coordinator to staffer to offensive coordinator, all that's going to matter for Mike too. It's more time, and his son is on that offensive line. Um, it's just a different. They're in a different space, but man, listen, you can't win three national championships in a row without winning the first two, and they've gotten to some degree the hard part done, which is winning two in a row. No, we haven't seen that since in 10 years. So I think they totally can win the national championship again. I don't know that I would exclusively define success in 2023 with winning the national championship, um, but I do. As it relates to specifically, are they ahead of where they were? In many ways, yes. In a couple of ways, the answer is no. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it there. But I also think that Kirby loves what he has from guys from that 22 class, guys who are going to be sophomores, who are going to take their game to an even bigger level, like Malachi
Okay.
Starks and Michael Williams and Oscar
Oscar
Delp and
Delp.
Branson Robinson,
Yeah.
Dylan
Williams.
Bell, Jalen Walker. There are a lot of
Williams.
guys who, yeah, yeah.
Did you say Williams?
Think I did after Malachi
Okay. Yeah.
Starks,
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael
You
Williams.
did. Okay.
There's just a ton. Dalen
Bear
Everett could be a
Alexander.
starting
Bear
cornerback. Bear
Alexander. Yeah.
Alexander.
Uh,
Name after name after name. As good as they looked as a freshman, these guys are going to make an even bigger impact this year. And I think Kirby knows that. He knows the young talent, the hungry talent mixed in with the key experienced veterans that he has on this team, especially on the defensive line. So, again, the pieces are there for another special season, and he knows that. I think at this point, it's staying healthy and finding the quarterback that makes the least amount of mistakes. And I think, again, I believe Carson is the front runner, and I'm excited to see what he can do and the rest of the guys this Saturday.
I think he's the front runner too, but he has to win the job, and that
Yeah.
no neither Brock nor Carson are going to be handed the job. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the website.